A few days ago, the long-awaited Chapter 5 of Poppy Playtime was released, so I did a poll to see if you wanted me to talk about it, and indeed, it was a highly anticipated chapter. Regarding the game, I have opinions that could easily contradict each other, but to explain them, we're going to need to go over things, so while we do that, I'll share some points of view. The chapter, as always, starts with a video home system tape showing a new toy. However, I find it strange that, unlike the other chapters, this toy itself isn't very important. Aside from wanting to grotesquely show how people are put into the toys, or at least its reversible feature isn't used at all in the game. In previous chapters, we've seen how Mommy stretches, how Dowie uses his clay power, and also how Catnap uses his ability to sleep and have nightmares. But here, not much, just a few appearances. Admittedly, hearing the prototype on video home system and watching a toy breathe gives off a really bad vibe. Going back to player, we see that we're in the same place where we ended the previous chapter. Starting a chase with Wubi, I have to admit that the environments look much better compared to the last time we saw Hubi. However, for the most part, the chase feels less tense than the previous one. If before you felt that Wubi could catch you at any moment, here it seems like he could do it, but just doesn't. And obviously, this throws you off, and I don't think the fact that he's injured is enough of a justification. Also, what about magical things like the door opening by magic? Yes, it has some great parts, and we get a hint about a new character to appear later. Hubi's anger is so strong that he enters the elevator, takes the grab pack from us, and starts the chapter. I like this part, not because it takes us back to the depths of the company, but because without our grab pack, we feel more defenseless, more vulnerable to danger. In this place, we'll listen to ourselves. The Udimal, yes, those we saw in the video home system are somewhat afraid of lights, so we'll use that to our advantage. And this will get even better when we find a star-shaped flashlight, as well as use its black light. We'll find clues that will help us on our journey, and we'll also see some interesting things. However, on our way, an Udimal attacks us, and it's a bit strange to see this fight. Come on player, you've faced bigger things. That little thing should be just a simple toy for you, right? Literally. Luckily for us, Ghiblet saves us. He's also an Udimal, but he's on our side and also on Poppy's side. We'll also run into the prototype. Apparently it's looking for us. Once the danger has passed, Ghiblet tells us where we can find a new grab pack. We head over there and get the classic hands in Gron's mouth, but it won't be long before we find a new hand, the pressing hand. It's a bit strange to understand at first, but once you finally figure out what to do, you realize it's a hand that has nothing to envy from the others. We make our way through the biodiversity of the place and then a toy chum kiss intercepts us. This one seems to work for the prototype, but it serves as a spy, and it's that toy we saw earlier in the elevator. In our search to find information to defeat the prototype, we find M's handcuffs. They will help us stick to or go to places where the magnets are. An entertaining mechanic, swinging or hanging, is always a good mechanic in Poppy Playtime. When we return to Ghiblet and Chum, we give them the information about the negation formula, which helps us face the prototype. To get the complete file, we need to look for the backup in the systems, but suddenly the prototype appears. So Chum hides us, then leaves us alone, and we go to a place called reanimation. As we continue, we'll pass through children's rooms, which were supervised by the scientists. Here comes one of the most interesting parts of this chapter, but first we'll unlock the conductor hand, which works like the green hand from chapter 2. But besides serving as a conductor of energy, it also works as a conductor of cold and heat. Likewise, we come across a machine that reveals memories. Memories of the patients when they are turned into toys. And yes, this is one of the best parts of this chapter. Not because they are frantic moments or have a lot of interaction, but because they reveal how the toys used to live before. And the reason for their rebellion? Who doesn't enjoy playing as Wubi unless the game gets buggy? Also, how did the unlocked code relate to the memories we saw? No idea. It just unlocks, we put it on the board, and that's it. But Wubi appears again. We fall, he catches us, but luckily he gets distracted by a screen. This is where the dynamic of looking for an exit while hiding and trying not to be seen begins. Personally, I think Hubi could have attacked us after breaking the screen, but I guess he has a bad memory. I understand that he lets himself be guided by his instincts. However, that doesn't change the fact that he knows where he left us. It's not like we moved from there. In the end, we managed to open the door and get out unharmed. We found a car, so we used it to our advantage by starting it with electricity, but at one point the car couldn't go any further, so we had to continue on foot. And suddenly Lily Lovebraids shows up and basically kidnaps us. Yes, that's right, she's ready. Crazy. She asks us to collect the buns, so we go, and then we see that she has Poppy and Kissy Missy kidnapped. She asks us to help her get out, so we'll look for a way to free them. After delivering the buns to Lily, we're tasked with finding her friends, each one in a different place, so it takes us a bit of time to find them. After collecting all three, we'll follow Lily to the kitchen where she'll ask us to put the recipe book in her corner. But they went too far here since they don't say where the book's corner is. To figure it out, you'll have to wander around exploring, and honestly, it's a waste of time because not knowing where to put the book doesn't contribute anything at all. And to make matters worse, when I loaded the game, it bugged out. And even though I already had all the toys on the table, Lily acted as if I hadn't put any, so once again, I had to find all the toys. When we finally put the damn book in its place, we realized there's a hidden room. Very convenient, honestly, and it's really strange that Lily sent us all the way here, risking us finding this room. Through this, we reach Lily's room where we find a corpse, apparently belonging to Miss Gracie Green. We also find a key that seems to open the locks in the place, so that will help us free Poppy. Lily comes in, but she doesn't see us. We sneak back to Poppy's prison and once again I got stuck. But the solution is this little star. You have to pull it to open another secret compartment. Wow, here we'll find a terminal for the different elements, which we'll use to free Poppy and Kizzy. However, the lights go out and they manage to catch us. Here, Lily will make us play a version of red light, green light. Yes, like in Squid Game, where we'll walk when she hums and we'll have to stop when she stops humming. Although something very strange is that she can attack us instantly, she could be a kilometer away from us and it doesn't matter because the attack is instantaneous.
What was that? Death? In what instant way? There was no sound, he just died.
In this, Poppy tries to save us, but Lily catches us. We're all forced to attend her I miss you party. Suddenly, the prototype finally appears, managing to be very scary and intimidating. He confronts Poppy for bringing us and manages to break her. Lily still holds some resentment toward Poppy and tries to grab her, but the prototype stops her, causing Kizzy to break free and escape with Poppy again. The chase begins, where Lily will show no mercy toward us. Something curious at the end of the chase is that at one point the game forces us to stay still. This is so we can open the hook and Lily falls. Which, yes, works when you realize you can do that, but hey, there's also the other option of running. We're not shown a reason why we can't do that, but the game forces us to do it first, and if not, instant death. The idea is understandable, but it's just not very well implemented. Subscribe. When we return with Poppy, we meet Ghiblet and Kizzy. Poppy is badly hurt, but despite that, we'll continue with our plan to find the backup in the systems. On our way, we'll see how the prototype stalks us, but even so, we try to make our way through what seems to be the operating room. Suddenly, Huggy appears again. We make it to the train, but Huggy catches us. However, he seems to remember Kizzy. Here, we all thought it would be a happy ending, and suddenly the prototype kills Huggy and Kizzy. Even so, we managed to escape. Wait, how is it that the prototype just stood still? That doesn't make any sense. If they wanted me to stop feeling like the prototype wants us dead, this did it. On the train, we dodge its attacks, try to slow it down, and avoid being hit. Ghiblet plans to crash the train with the prototype, so we freeze it and jump out. However, this isn't enough to stop it, and the prototype goes through us, drags us, and drops us into a mysterious substance. And as if by pure magic and partly thanks to Ghiblet, we come back to life. This part makes the phrases we always see when we die finally become canon and have an impact within the story. While seeing them before didn't mean that someone wasn't telling us, now that they finally have some relevance in this story, we should be sure that whoever is sending us these phrases is important to the plot. Also, even though we're alive, the program isn't very encouraging. The prototype took Poppy.
Did I tell you I'm not a hero?
I tried to empathize with Ghiblet, but it feels like the usual I'm not a hero cliche. Don't expect it. Yes, I am. No, I'm really not. Don't expect it. Yes, I am. Don't be surprised if he does something heroic in episode 6. I can already see it. We arrive at the data center, look for the backup, and find the computer where it's supposedly stored. We follow the procedure that the machine asks us to, but then Dr. Harley Sawyer shows up again.
But well, this really is an unexpected twist.
And this is how chapter 5 ends, once again leaving an open ending for chapter 6. And now let's get straight to the analysis, and I'd like to start with the chases. Look, I love Poppy Playtime, and one of the best parts is when an antagonist tries to catch you, but in this chapter and some others, it doesn't work perfectly. And that may be because several of these chases are oversaturated with mechanics. Just look at chapter 1, it's simple and easy to understand. The only way to die is if you make a mistake along the way. Instead, we have to swing or remove an object or place batteries or use the conductor hand. There are times when these mechanics are used well, when they don't stop the chase from being frantic. However, that's not always the case. And obviously, it takes away that moment of anxiety or adrenaline that you feel. And since we mentioned the mechanics a bit, it's worth noting that the 2 new hands we have here are just as good as the others. Their mechanics are useful and believable. The pressing hand is useful for solving puzzles, moving and breaking objects, and the conductor hand is used to transmit electricity, heat and cold to other places. It reminds us of the classic green hand. On the other hand, this chapter definitely shines because of the background given to things. Simply putting yourself in Huggy Wuggy's shoes is incredible. Sometimes it gets a bit boring because the tasks are pretty simple, especially watching the toys dance. That scene just showed us there was a box of bad toys. And that's it. Although we have to admit that these memories did help give closure to Huggy. He was the first big toy we encountered, the first one that chased us, and now he seems to be dead. The idea of starting the chapter with a chase by Huggy is great. It's a shame that sometimes it feels like it was a bit poorly implemented. Him taking our grab pack is shocking, especially since it feels like the prototype is after us. It keeps us tense. He successfully plays an intimidating role, and even when he appears, his face remains terrifying. He also seems to be the story's final boss. Ghiblet is such a good companion that I'd even call him a hero. He saved us from a toy attack and brought us back to life. What's wrong with you, Ghiblet? And Lily? Well, Lily is crazy, but it works. For her part, as I said a moment ago, Huggy seems to be dead, and his death already indicates that we're close to the end. I swear I thought this chapter was going to be the end, but well, it wasn't. They still want to leave it for another chapter, but I hope it's for chapter 6 since this can't or shouldn't be dragged out much longer. Just think about it. We're close to accessing the information needed to defeat the prototype. Soon, we'll use it against him. Several of the characters we knew are already dead or are hurt, like Poppy with her face. And come on, even us. Could we say that we died at the hands of the prototype? So this has to end in the next chapter, but well, why does it have to end in the next single? If they try to stretch out the plot, that can obviously affect the quality of the story, and that's something they can't neglect. There can be bugs, missions that aren't very clear, mechanics that maybe don't convince you that much, parts that aren't that scary. But a chapter of Poppy Playtime without a decent intriguing story or background is a chapter that might not really be worth playing.